Welcome to the Dead Island Epidemic Survivor Lowdown, featuring Charlie and her crabs. Spending her days diving for sunken ships or exploring dense jungles, Charlie Benthas never had a boring day in her life as an adventurer for hire. Brought to Amaya by news of the appearance of a rare species, she brought all of her adventuring gear along. With harpoons, bolas, knives, and a sudden alliance with the island's land-living crabs, Charlie is more than ready to take on the epidemic. Charlie's Q fires a harpoon in a straight line, dealing damage and knocking back all enemies hit. It also applies a stack of hemorrhage, which deals damage over time. Sharpened, the first augmentation, removes the limit on how many enemies harpoon shot can pierce through. When double barrel is unlocked, harpoon shot can be recast for a short while after the first shot, firing a second harpoon. Harpoon shot can do a lot of things. With proper aim, it can be used to harass opponents or to finish off an escaping enemy. It becomes slightly more effective if the enemies are already locked down, allowing you easier hits. Bolas is Charlie's E skill and is a linear skill shot disable that prevents enemies hit from using skills or attacks for a short while. The bolas will pierce through and deal damage to any walkers in the way. Your rank 2 of bolas is throwing arm. Enemies caught by bolas are now crippled. The second augmentation, twice the bolas, lets your bolas split in two upon impact, allowing you to capture more enemies. Bolas is very useful for setting up Charlie's other abilities. The crippling effect on rank 2 makes it easier to land harpoons or catch up with slice and dice. At rank 3, it becomes very potent in teamfights, keeping enemies locked down while your crabs go to town on them. Your slice and dice skill lets you gain increased movement speed and allows you to pass through enemies. You hemorrhage and deal damage to enemies you run through. The hemorrhage debuff stacks and becomes a rupture effect when enough stacks are applied. Rupture deals damage if the target moves on its own. With Blitz, the first augmentation, you gain an additional burst of speed when using slice and dice. Escape Artist is the second augmentation and breaks lesser movement impairing effects, or lets you become immune to the next debuff of that kind during the skill's duration. Slice and Dice has incredible levels of utility. It can be used to chase, escape, or to deal damage to a lot of nearby enemies, all the while stacking up hemorrhage. Charlie's ultimate ability is her tossing a massive crab cage at target location. There, it breaks and crabs start swarming out. They seek out targets that they attack, dealing damage and applying hemorrhage. As the crabs scurry about towards their targets, they pierce through anyone in their way. Her ultimate augmentation, Heavy Cage, stuns all enemies near the landing site of the cage. Crab Cage is a very powerful teamfight ability that quickly stacks up hemorrhage on multiple enemies at once. It's the icing on the cake that is her kit, and there's nothing worse than seeing your entire team get crabs. That's all for this Survivor Lowdown. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below.